Good morning. I'll try it again. Good morning. And welcome to worship here at the First Presbyterian Church. We are so glad that you are worshiping with us this morning. I have one announcement is that the Worship and Music Committee will meet tomorrow night at 7 p.m. virtually, so you will get your Google Meet access code for that. That's the only, I do also call your attention to the announcements in the bulletin, and it looks like Linda is hovering with a possible announcement. Yes, sure.
Good morning, everyone. I have a couple announcements, actually. The first is that tonight is combined youth group, so we invite any youth from grade 6 through 12th to come join us at 6 p.m. tonight. So today is a special day in the life of the church. This is a day that we celebrate our pastors. So I invite Pastor Linda, who is my mom, and Pastor Marie to come forward here. I just want to take a moment to thank them for all that they do for us. Being a pastor and serving a congregation is a wonderful gift for us, and I appreciate everything that they do, as I'm sure you do as well. And we have some flowers. My presenters can come forward. I recruited some youth to assist, and some candy, and we hope that you know how much we appreciate you. So thank you. Yes, I needed to give her an advance warning. Yeah. So thank you.
I have a quick announcement also. We're going to be doing the crop walk this year on October 24th. It's a little different because we're not having a table and signing people up in Fellowship Hall, but there is a table out in the narthex, and you can get information about the crop walk. You can donate to somebody who's walking, or you can donate online. It's going to be October 24th if you'd like to walk, and that's it.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Linda. My goodness. I think that's all, unless somebody else has something. Seeing none, then let us start our worship with our prelude.
Please join me in the call to worship. It is not what we do that saves us.
It is the mercy and grace of God poured out in love.
The first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
God's love turns our expectations upside down.
Let us pray. Holy God, you have called us here this day for healing, hope, and transformation. As we listen to the scripture, pray our prayers, sing our hymns, and hear the words of wisdom, open our hearts to hear your claim on our lives, that we may fully and joyfully serve you. Amen.
God calls us to live lives of abundance, but we prefer to live lives of scarcity. Together, let us confess our sins. Almighty and Holy One, we look for you in all the wrong places. We cannot begin to count all our possessions. We have things in our closets, our attics, and our basements. We have things tucked away in boxes we haven't opened in years, and we still acquire more. Forgive our crass materialism, but we, O God, need your forgiveness, for we are more attached to our things than we are willingly to acknowledge. Transform us into generous spirits who will share your gifts with the world. Amen. Dear friends, we draw false and fleeting comfort from our material things. True comfort comes from God's love for us, and by responding with that same love to family, friend, neighbor, and stranger. By God's love, we are forgiven. Let us always show that love. Thanks be to God. And yes, I know that there are no children, but you're going to get it anyway, because we are all young and children at heart. Okay, yesterday I got 2 catalogs in the mail. How many did some other people get? Tons. Why do we get so... Oh, are there children coming? Yes. Yay, we got kids. It's time for our time together. Do you get catalogs in your house? You don't know. Does your grown-up or mom or dad or grandma, do they go online and order things? Yes. And I bet they get lots of ads on their email, on their Facebook account, on their Instagram account, on TikTok. I'm sure they see ads. I get catalogs. Lots of other people get catalogs too. Why do you think we get so many ads and we can get so many catalogs? Why?
Because you have to see, like people see new commercials, I guess anything's new.
Right. And when you watch a commercial, what do they want you to do?
Buy stuff.
Buy stuff. Ooh. Buy stuff. And do they just want you to buy a little stuff, or do they want you to buy a lot of stuff? A lot of stuff. And what happens when you buy a lot of stuff? Yeah.
You'll get broke.
You'll get broke. Yes. Very good answer. What else happens? What else happens?
You also won't be able to buy anything you need.
You won't be able to buy anything you need, yes.
You also don't have a house.
You also don't have a house. But what happens when you have a lot of stuff and you try to put it all in your room?
Your room gets messy.
Your room gets messy and way crowded. And what happens when your room gets messy?
You don't have that much room.
You don't have room. And do you then get told to clean it up a lot? Yes. And that's what happens. We get told to buy things. And so we buy, and we buy, and we buy, and then we don't have the money for the stuff we really need or the stuff we really want to do, and our houses get full and messy. And you know what? God says there's a different way. God says we don't need all of the stuff. We need God's love in our hearts, and we need to share what we have so everybody has enough, And when that happens, we'll never run out. That's what God says. Yes?
Like if you have a lot of money and you still can have a lot. And like if you have like $2,000,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You can. If you have a lot of money and you give some of it away, you will still have a lot of money. Okay. We love technology at times. Okay. So remember, especially as we're getting into the holiday season, I've already seen Christmas decorations up. And to remember that sharing your heart and your love and the message of Jesus is the best thing you can give anybody and they can give you. So let's say a prayer, and I do prayers after children's chats a little differently because I like to make noise in church. So we're going to clap into our praying hands on 3. So 1, 2, 3. Dear God, thank you for giving us hearts to love. Help us love you more than we love our stuff. Amen. Thank you for coming.
Let us pray. God's word is living and active, speaking to our world today. It speaks powerfully to our lives. Trust and listen, both to words of pain and need, as well as to words of mercy and grace. Amen. Our first lesson this morning is Psalm 90, verses 12 through 17. Teach us to count our days that we may gain a wise heart. Turn, O Lord, how long? Have compassion on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, so that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad as many days as you have afflicted us, and as many years as we have seen evil. Let your work be manifest to your servants, and your glorious power to their children. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us, and prosper for us the work of our hands. O prosper the work of our hands.
The second lesson comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verses 17 through 31. As Jesus was setting out on a journey, a man ran up and knelt before him and asked him, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but God alone. You know the commandments. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, you shall not defraud, honor your father and mother." He said to him, "Teacher, I have kept all these things since my youth." Jesus, looking at him, loved him and said, "You lack one thing. Go, sell what you own, and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." When he heard this, he was shocked and went away grieving, for he had many possessions. Then Jesus looked around and said to his disciples, "How hard it will be for those who have wealth to enter the kingdom of God." And the disciples were perplexed at these words. But Jesus said to them again, Children, how hard it is to enter the kingdom of God. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. They were greatly astonished and said to one another, "Then who can be saved?" Jesus looked at them and said, "For mortals it is impossible, but not for God. For with God all things are possible." Peter began to say to him, "Look, we have left everything and followed you." Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, there is no one who has left house or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for my sake and for the sake of the good news, who will not receive 100-fold now in this age, houses, brothers and sisters, mothers and children, and fields with persecutions, and in the age to come, eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last will be first." May God add a blessing to the reading and hearing of God's holy words. Well, to be honest, this gospel passage is one of the reasons why I support pastors and churches using the lectionary, that set of 3-year readings that get you through a good part of the Bible. Because I need to be honest, if this was not the assigned passage for this week, I wouldn't be preaching on it. Because it's one of those passages that's just hard for all of us. It's hard to hear, it's hard to read, it's hard to think about. And it's so hard because no matter how much each of us don't feel rich, when we hear a passage like this, deep in our hearts, we know the hard, honest truth. We are rich compared to so many in our world. Most of us do not have to worry about where our next meal will come from. And for most of us, even when we say we have nothing to eat in our houses, we have enough food in our freezers and pantries and kitchens that we could survive for weeks, if not months. And that's our reality. And yet it's hard. And like I said, with our children, our houses are full of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. Even those of us who have moved a lot have way too much stuff that I've paid way too much money to drag with me from place to place to place. Our culture and our society owns so much stuff that storage units are a huge business. Think about it. We own so much stuff that we can't put all of it in the place where we live, so we have to spend money to buy a place to store it. Now, I know there are good reasons to have storage units, but we all have way too much stuff, and that's not the point I'm trying to make. We, as a culture, love our stuff until our stuff breaks or stops working the way we want it to, then we throw it away. So we get stuff, to have stuff, to use stuff, until at the first sign our stuff starts to wear out or we get bored with it, we then get rid of it so we can get more stuff. This is insane. And yet we all do it again and again and again. And I'm as guilty as everyone else. Because we get sucked in. We get sucked into the commercials and the constant barrage of all the advertising. And you think, I really need that new thing. I really need the new iPhone because it comes in purple. Mine was black, now it can be purple. I like purple. We all get sucked into it. And when we compare it with our lives, this passage is hard to hear. And that's exactly why we need to hear it. So besides feeling guilty and hopeless, how can we deal with this passage? Well, first of all, in Jesus' time, as in ours, there are the group of people who always strive for wealth above everything else. We all know those people. They're the ones who talk about money and how much they have or don't have all the time. And they make sure everyone knows that they have the latest and greatest gadget. Everything they do in their lives revolves around how much money they have and how they can get more. Even their relationships are clouded by their thoughts of money and seeking more of it. The rich young man is that kind of person. He wants to follow Jesus, but he cannot imagine living a life that is not focused on money, how much you have, and how you're going to get more. And in Jesus' time, to be a disciple was literally to be a follower. So the disciples, when they answered Jesus' call to be a part of his teaching, they joined the life of an itinerant preacher and teacher. And to do that, they had to divest themselves of all of their possessions except for basic items of clothing. And this makes sense when you agree to a life of wandering around. You can't be dragging an entire house full of stuff. Or it's not that easy. And the other point that Jesus was making with the rich young man is how socioeconomic ties and the relations that come with them are hard to sever. Money, for some people, is safety. And some people become so afraid that they will run out of money, that they will not make the changes they need to make because they are too scared to give up their money and their security. I have known and pastored so many people who have told me that they hate their jobs or their careers, but they stay with them because they cannot figure out how to live without the income that that job provides. They worked for a job they hated to live a life that they thought they needed to live. and they were waiting for that perfect time when it would all be worthwhile. I was always sad after those conversations. Yes, money is important. Paying bills is important. Having a roof over your head is important. Saving for retirement is important. But so is happiness, quality time with your family and friends, and doing something that feeds your soul and brings joy to you and the world. And it is a balance, because we all don't have to become Francis of Assisi or Mother Teresa, giving up everything and walking away from all our money and our family ties. These two are examples of very special people, which is why we know them. But we all can do things that remind the world and us that money is not what life is all about. We can share what we have with those who are in need. And I need to say, this congregation does that so well. We have many opportunities to give and to share and to help. And many of us spend many hours in the planning of and in the direct services to others that help others' lives on a daily basis. Even though we think it is just what we do, the clothes closet, the food pantry, the crop walk, we need to remember that so many people do not even do one small thing in their daily lives to help others. We in the church can't imagine something like that. But let me tell you, I have also had far too many conversations that I render the person that I'm speaking to speechless when I tell them of some mission project that our church does. And they are so impressed that we take so much time and energy to help others that they don't know what to say. Now, I wish I could say that I no longer have a look of shock on my face when people tell me this, but you all know me far too well. And all of this, in so many ways, boils down to the issues of scarcity and abundance. And these issues, scarcity and abundance, have so little to do with the actual amount of wealth any of us has. The rich young man lived a life of scarcity. Everything in his mind was scarce. And he knew that any day he could run out of whatever he might need. That is why he couldn't answer Jesus' call to follow. He could not imagine a life where he would not know where everything he could possibly need would come from. We all have experienced and know that fear of scarcity. That fear of scarcity is what made toilet paper hoarding a thing at the beginning of the pandemic. Just saying. But abundance is harder to feel and live, because abundance is living in such a way that we know deep within our souls that there will always be enough. It's knowing that if we run out of toilet paper, we have Kleenex. And if we run out of Kleenex, the church had a supply of toilet paper that we could raid. There would be enough for us. I learned about abundance from my Italian grandmothers. There was always enough food and love for whoever showed up at your door. It didn't matter how tight money was, and money was always tight. It didn't matter if you had carefully planned all the meals and the supplies for a 2-week period, and you were going to use up half of it to make this meal. You always welcomed that 1 or 6 or 10 extra people to your home and your table. And in some, what I always called the magical Italian nonni thing, it all worked out. It's just what you did. There was always enough food for the meal. The meal might be creative, but there was always enough food, and there were always at least 3 to 4 courses, and Marilyn's shaking her head in agreement. And there was always plenty to go around. There were plenty of leftovers that you brought home, and there was always plenty of love and conversation. That is living in abundance. Abundance is what Jesus talks about at the end of this passage, when he says that for humans, getting a camel through the eye of a needle is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. God knows who we are. God created us the way we are. God's love and grace are available to everyone, regardless of how much wealth we have or don't have. God invites all of us to live a life of abundance, where we will have everything we need. Our hearts and our souls will be full of the abundance of life and love and faith. That is the invitation Jesus gives to each and every one of us. Let us accept the invitation to follow, and let us lead new lives. Amen. let us affirm our faith by saying together the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Ghost, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, dead, and buried. He descended into hell. The third day he rose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven. He sitteth on the right hand of God the Father Almighty. From thence he will come to judge the quick and the dead. I believe in the Holy Ghost, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and the life everlasting. Amen. Please be seated. We have come to the time where I invite you to share your joys, your concerns, your reasons to give thanks. Yes. That is so sad. Yes. Prayers for Allison, a brand new mom who was just diagnosed with a brain tumor. I can't even imagine. Are there others? Yes.
For my mom who has lung cancer, to Lincoln, Whitewater, and also whoever in the family stole from her, they try to work on their conscience.
Sounds good. And her name is? Josephine? Yeah. Prayers for Josephine, who has lung cancer. Yes. Okay, Stu, your sister Rose has cancer? No. Cousin. Husband. Okay. So your brother-in-law has cancer? Yes, okay. Sorry. There are times when standing up at the pulpit doesn't, it's hard to hear. Okay, so your brother-in-law has cancer. Sister Rose. Thank you, Stu. Are there others? With all that is on our minds and our hearts, let us turn to God in prayer. First, with the silent prayers of our hearts. Let us pray. Holy God, we thank you for all that you give to us in this life. Help us to be grateful for all of it. Help us to remember to thank you for everything. Because it's so easy to forget to do that. It's so easy to take our lives for granted so that we focus on what we think we don't have. And we forget all of the abundance that you give us each and every day. Help us to be generous with your abundance and your love and your grace. Remind us that they never run out, so we never have to worry that we won't have enough. Because you are more than enough for everything. Remind us, Holy God, because it's so easy to forget. It's easy to forget because there is so many things that call to us each and every day. We're pulled in so many different directions, and we're so focused on all of the needs. Our needs, our family's needs, our friends' needs, our community's needs, our world's needs, that we forget. We forget you and your great love. So knit us together, Holy God, into a community that celebrates all that you give us each and every day. And on this day, Holy God, we pray. We pray for all those people who grieve and mourn. We ask that they know your peace. We pray with all those people who celebrate on this day, knowing that those joys are sweeter with your presence. We pray for all those people who are ill, in body, mind, or spirit. We ask that your healing presence be upon them, and that your guidance be with all who care for them. We pray, Holy God, for those people who wrestle with questions that feel so large and answers that feel so small. We ask that they know your hope. We pray, Holy God, for so many people who freely give of themselves in so many ways so that we can lead our blessed lives. We ask that you keep them safe. And always, Holy God, we pray that there would be an end to violence and war and hatred, and that your peace and your justice and your mercy come to all corners of our world. Lead us and guide us, Holy God, to be your generous people, giving of ourselves and your love freely wherever we go. We pray this prayer and all prayers in the name of the one you sent for us, Jesus the Christ, who taught us to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Jesus challenged the rich man to sell what he had and give to the poor. He challenges us today to be generous in our giving, trusting God's provision for our lives. You may leave your offering in the plate at the back, in the back of the sanctuary. You can mail it, you can drop it in our mailbox, or donate it online. Generous God, we bring you our gifts today. We recognize that we have comes from you. May these gifts bring hope to places of pain and need. Amen.